Tim Zimmerman and John Jacob from High Noon Toastmasters.
Bill, thank you so much for Tim and I are here. We're trying to give you some idea of how Toastmasters, most of the time, how Toastmasters can work and probably help you folks too. That's just our duty today, is to talk about the Toastmasters.
In less than 5 seconds, you've already made your mind up. The president of your club has invited a couple of bumbling idiots to speak to you. That's how important good public speaking can be. In front of you, you have an agenda that we follow every Friday at high noon. You'll notice not a minute of time is wasted. And almost every member who comes to the meeting will wind up participating in it throughout the meeting. John and I are going to take you through a high noon Toastmasters meeting. Our meeting begins with the president calling the meeting to order and asking a member to give the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. From there, the president will introduce the awe counter. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, and the word master. The word master is to prepare the word of the day, a word that is not commonly used in everyday language. They will give the definition of the word, use it in a sentence, and then it's up to the rest of us to try to incorporate that word throughout the meeting. After the word master, the Toastmaster is introduced, the Toastmaster of the day, who will take control of the meeting for the rest of the hour. The Toastmaster is a very important person. They have to introduce everyone on the agenda. They have to keep the energy level high in the room. And of course, they've got to watch the clock, because we're very prone on our time. One of the first people that the Toastmaster introduces is the topic master. During our topic session of Toastmasters, we get to practice our impromptu speaking skills. Speaking on your feet, if you will. The topic master prepares several topics prior to the meeting. Now, these topics can be about absolutely anything. The topic master will announce one of their topics and then call randomly on a member in the room who must stand up and give a 1 to 2 minute speech about a topic they've heard for the very first time. This can be quite entertaining as you watch that member stand up, quickly gather their thoughts, and attempt to put them into a coherent pattern for 1 to 2 minutes about a subject they've just heard for the very first time. Shortly after joining Toastmasters, I found myself using this skill. I was down at the River Market, and there was a local TV news crew down there, and they wanted to interview me about the new coach Petrino and an upcoming Razorback game. As they asked me those questions, the words came off my tongue fluently, coherently, and intelligently. That night on the local newscast, of the 4 people interviewed, I received more airtime than the other 3 combined. I contribute that to the topic session of Toastmasters.
The formal speaking session for Toastmasters consists of 3 different members giving speeches of 5 to 7 minutes in length. Now, they're told 2 or 3 weeks before that they're going to be scheduled for this speech. We have a basic training manual that helps us learn some things about effective communication, such as a speech on gestures, eye contact, voice modulation, things of that nature, so that each of us can learn from time to time things that make our presentations more presentable. Now, the topic of the speech is up to the speaker. The first speech we ask is what we call an icebreaker, where the speaker introduces himself to the audience. After that, anything you want to speak about is fine, because nobody can evaluate what you're saying, only how you said it. And so we try and do that, and one of the things we try to realize, and it took me a while to realize this, everybody in the audience wants you to be successful. And so they're on your side. They'll help you where they can. And one of the things about Toastmasters is we say, if it's not fun, you're not learning anything. Well, let me tell you, in our meetings, we have fun, and we learn too. We have a couple of things. We have some contests twice a year. A contest on speeches that are serious, and one is on humorous. And if you win the club contest, you can go to the next level, and the next level after that. So it's kind of fun with that too. Being able to present ideas is very important. It's good for business. I mean, to be successful in business, you must be able to present ideas properly, effectively. But not just that, most of our social and marital problems come from a miscommunication or a lack of communication. If you can learn how to present things and say things better, your life will be completely changed.
People come to Toastmasters to improve their speaking and leadership skills. That improvement process happens during the evaluation portion of our meeting. Each of the 3 speakers are assigned an evaluator. More times than not, the speaker will be speaking from a particular manual. This manual contains what are called projects or speeches. At the back of the manual, at the end of every project, is a section that lets the evaluator know exactly what the speaker is trying to accomplish in that speech. A guide, if you will, for the evaluator. It's important to note, it is not the evaluator's duty to evaluate the subject of the speech, but rather the speaker's speaking skills. A good evaluator will remain unbiased, even if they completely disagree with what the speaker is saying. It's the evaluator role to be encouraging and to motivate the speaker to continue in their speaking progress. You'll get a glimpse of an evaluation today. We've asked High Noon Toastmaster Jeff to join us today. He will be evaluating the speech that John and I are giving immediately following.
Besides the formal evaluation of the speakers, the entire club is evaluated throughout the meeting by 3 different people. We're trying to make sure that we can eliminate distractions in speech so that it's hard for the people to listen to you, the proper grammar that you use in the speech, and the timing of the speech. Now, the first thing we have, and people wonder about this, is we call an eye counter. He has a bell. He lets you know when you are making a distraction. If I were to say I was going to, I'm trying to, you see, what they're doing is telling me exactly when I made that error, so I can control it. The second thing is a grammarian. Sometimes, if you don't have proper grammar, what you're saying is what they're hearing is exactly the opposite of what you're saying. So you've got to be accurate in that. And the next is a timer. You have a timing light. When you have 1 minute to go, 2 minutes to go in your speech, the yellow light goes on, 1 minute, there's a green light goes on, and then when the red light goes on, your speaking is up. The idea is for you to be disciplined so that you don't just ramble on and on and on. So it's good practice for you to do those kind of things.
I joined Toastmasters almost 2 years ago. I brought with me some leadership speaking skills. Toastmasters allowed me to practice those skills. You too have some speaking and leadership skills. Why not come to Toastmasters and practice those skills?
If you will come to a meeting as a guest, you will not be asked to make a speech. Nobody will ring the bell on you. Nobody will evaluate you. You're there to observe, and that's it. If you would like to join the club, you must come 3 times, because we want somebody who really knows what we're about and who wants to be involved in this. So if you will,